Welcome to the Sound Creator Podcast, where I explore the fascinating world of sound design and sound effects. I'm your host, Cedric Black, and in each episode, I dive deep into the art of creating unique audio experiences. Join me as I share my personal journey in sound design, from crafting realistic sound effects to building captivating soundscapes. On this show, I will dive into this unique art of sound that brings movies, games, and media to life. Welcome to the show. Welcome back once again to another episode of the Sound Creator Podcast. And as always, I'm grateful to be here. Happy to bring you another episode of my journey through sound design and creating sounds, sound effects. And it's always fun. It's always exciting. You know, sometimes it can become a little tedious when things throw you off, like technical issues that I've had for a while. But I feel like I'm becoming closer to overcoming these issues. Things are sounding better. I'm still on that road to perfection. I'll keep striving until I do obtain that, because I like the way it sounds now, but it can always be better. But that's just another roadblock to another hill to climb, another mountain to get over throughout this journey. But I'm working on it. I'm getting better. Things are getting better. So bear with me. Thanks for showing up again if I didn't say so earlier. I really appreciate bringing you this episode and bringing you this weekly podcast. I really enjoyed, and I hope that I am bringing you something that you find valuable in some way, even if it's one sentence or one word or the entire episode. Every day is creating sounds is the same throughout. Every day is the same because the basic of it is creating sounds. But the journey that's involved in that, the dimensions always change some way. When we are sound creators, we're faced with creating, but that also, in my opinion, it comes with some pressure to be creative and to be authentic and to be original. But the pressure is, I think we put pressure on ourselves because of the industry that we're in, because we tend to see someone else or hear someone else's work that looks like gains so much attention. I think we do this in the world, period, with a lot of other industries, whether it's fashion or sports or music or anything else that we see somewhat, because there's always this pressure of being better or being good, because we question ourselves a lot. And I know that I do sometimes with some of the sounds that I create. I can like it, but I think it boils down to, I wouldn't really say personal taste, because sounds aren't really, or sound effects aren't really personal taste. It's more of how can it be used? Would someone find it usable for their projects or for this movie scene or that video? So I think we get caught up in being original, being authentic. And I think that sometimes we lose focus. I know that I have many times. I've lost focus on creating something, or I can have some sounds, something that I've worked on and I've created, and I go back and listen to it. And I always think that there's a way I can make it better. there are so many ways I can continue to work on it, but one thing that I have one habit that I've broken, what I'm trying to break, is to keep it simple. Because at first, when I first started with sound design years ago, I would start out simple. It was something simple because I didn't really have a lot of microphones or these special tools that I use now. The technology, I didn't have all of that. I started out with my cell phone, just capturing sounds, and as I started learning more and started using more tools to use, acquiring more tools to use, I developed a habit of chopping away, continuing to add more and more and more things to try to make it better or bigger. Or, what I found is that the more I chased that route, the less authentic the sound sounded. I took away so much. It's like layering yourself with a bunch of clothing or applying more makeup. The more you add, the more it takes away from who you really are. Yeah, a lot of times, it covers up things, so to speak. So that's what I was doing a lot with a lot of sounds that I created when I was capturing sounds, especially the bigger sounds, the impactful sounds or the mechanical sounds, those things that have motion to them. The more I was adding to that, trying to make it bigger, it sounded like I was taking away a lot from that. It sort of lost itself. So I've learned from that, and I'm still learning. And everything is always trial and error. And as a sound designer, I think the biggest positivity that we have, the biggest positive note that we have in our industry is the freedom of experimentation. And experimenting I think is key. I do it daily, all the time. But if it's something that's commissioned for a project, the experimentation sort of takes the back seat, because if there's something not already done that a client or a customer, someone already sees that they want, or if there's a brief that's developed that says we're looking for sounds like this, and can you make this associated with the project that we're working on, then experimentation sort of takes a back seat, because now it's time sensitive. There's some room for experimentation, but it's limited because of the time frame that's involved, and that creates a lot of pressure. So mostly that boils down to knowing the tools that I have at my expense, and utilizing the experience that I've accumulated throughout the years. But it's still fun, it's still creativity, and the experimentative part of creating sounds is what I like the most about it, is that it's unlimited. There's no right or wrong way to do anything. There's no right way to make a sound bigger, create a greater impact. There's no wrong way to do that. There's no right way to do it. It's just do it. You try things, you try different avenues, and that's what I do a lot. There's no, I always go back to simplicity, keeping it simple. When I was a kid, and I think most of us have probably heard this acronym before. When I was a kid, I used to hear, I first learned it was K.I.S.S, K-I-S-S, keep it simple, stupid. So that's been my mindset for everything that I do, whether it's music or sound design and anything else. That's always been the best route for me. And I'm learning to continue to utilize that formula with connecting it to sound design and creating sounds. It's helping a lot. I do like it because a few episodes back I mentioned an email that I received from someone asking me about learning how to create sounds and the equipment I think they needed. And from that, I told them to keep it simple, just use a cell phone. So I'm taking my own advice. I do use a cell phone, but I use other microphones also. But the process of creating and the process of creativity and experimenting is just a formula that I'm using, trying to keep it simple as much as I can. So far, I do like that route, because it's when I add more and more, because I have you have at your disposal, especially with technology, you have so much at your disposal to change things and to morph new ideas into even newer ideas. It's just unlimited possibilities that we have. And sometimes it's like having too much money. You don't know what to do with it. You can do so much with it, and you find out that what you can do when you can do everything that you've always wanted to do, nothing ever pleases you. So, and I think it works that way mostly with the sounds that I have, or the tools that I have. I have so much I can do, so many things, so many avenues that I can travel, but is it going to be satisfactory? Usually not. That's why I keep it simple. If I'm a rich person who has unlimited money, if I just live a modest life, I'm probably more satisfied than doing whatever I want to do, because it's never going to satisfy me, because I'm always looking for, how can I top that? If I flew a helicopter to Hawaii this week, how can I top it next week? It's never going to end. So keeping it simple is a formula that I'm going back to, and you'll hear this more in upcoming episodes with the sounds that I bring to the show. So that's it for today. Thanks for showing up and checking out this episode, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. If you found value in what you've heard, I kindly ask you to spread the word about the Sound Creator Podcast. Share it with your friends, colleagues, and anyone who shares your fascination for the power of sound. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your preferred platform so you never miss an episode. You can also stay connected with me through my main website at cedricblack.com or at cedblack on Instagram. Thank you once again for being part of this incredible journey. I look forward to bringing you more captivating episodes in the future. Until next time, keep exploring, keep creating, and let the light be your guide.